We recorded the whole album in Italy, Como. Got a studio there. We built a studio. It's kind of I live quite close to it, not in it, but like walking distance. And we rented out a couple of sort of flats where Dom and Chris could stay. And so basically, we started working there probably September, October or something last year. And it was quite casual really. We just sort of we'd probably spend about 10 days there or something and then take a break for a week or so. And it was quite casual really. But we thought it was a good time to work in a not home studio, but like our own studio environment. So we had no restrictions on time. We could just work whenever we wanted to work and explore some of the ideas that we've always wanted to look at, which we didn't really have the courage to look at because of time. Like for example, the last kind of 3 songs on the album are kind of like very symphonic. It took about probably 6 weeks of studio time to make it work properly. And I don't think we would have the courage to do this in a commercial studio because it'd be too expensive, basically. So it's nice to have a home studio because you can work more. Sometimes you can work more creatively, more explore more ideas.
We can often play them in quite a simple fashion in some ways initially, and then over time they can evolve greatly into something very, very different. And that's that seems to be the process that always happens. The songs really take on quite a journey in the studio, and every song's different in the way you approach it, I suppose.
Get some mics out.
Get a few mics out, mic up the kit, and but. I think that we started this time like playing everything quite live, quite 3-piece sounding, and then which sounded pretty good. But then we took it apart a little bit, and then and continued to experiment a little more with different sections of songs. And it seemed like once every song had really developed its own individual character of some kind of sort, that's when we knew it was pretty much coming towards the end of the recording, or definitely heading in the right direction.
Eclectic, probably.
I think this album sounds
weird.
It sounds very much like the sound of Muse, if there's such a sound. We produced it by ourselves, and I think for that reason it was almost like defining the kind of sound, or many of the different influences and sound of the band that we've come across in the past, and bringing it all together and kind of focusing it a little bit more than we have done in the past. But still experimenting a lot with new musical ideas that we've never touched on before, or like Matt said, maybe not had the courage to do in the past. But we want it, I think it sounds like a kind of very Muse-like.
Yeah, you always have doubts with anything you do. Sometimes really, really difficult doubts. I think when you're younger, like when you're in your early 20s, maybe in the early albums we made, sometimes those doubts can be, you can let them develop too far, and to the point where you can become indecisive. The most important thing is to be decisive with creative projects, and the way to be decisive is to have some kind of goal, or some kind of, like, not a goal, but something you can refer back to if you have a doubt. I suppose with this time it was just something that we wanted it to be a kind of definitive Muse album in some way. So yeah, we have many doubts, but I think the doubts, we dealt with them a lot quicker on this album than we did in the past. I think in the past we would be stuck for days sometimes, like going around in circles, like trying everything you can think of, whereas this time we had so much work to do, so many things to do, like orchestral stuff, all the keyboard parts, synth parts, guitar parts, piano parts, vocal parts, backing vocal parts. That's just me. We had so much to do. You just had to get on with it. You can't hang around. So the decisiveness is what I think made the album happen. Really good. I think that's what made the album work really well. That's what I enjoyed about the process compared to the previous album.
To last time.
Is that we'd have really bad doubts, like should this song have a guitar on it, or should it be like a piano bass? And like, just fucking flip a coin. Do you know what I mean? Just go for it. Like, you don't need to think about things. I think I'm saying these are things that I was saying to myself. You know, don't think about things too much. You know, because there is luck out there in the world. You know, and you cannot control it. You just have to go with it. It would be an insult to your country for me to try to speak in French. Really, I cannot speak. Basically, I took the script. I took the text is from well, the music and the text for this section is from opera from Camille Saint-Saëns. Yeah, Camille. He's called Camille.
Yeah.
Good guy. And and he wrote a great opera, Samson and Delilah, based on the biblical tale, and it's it's got like probably the most. One of the best arias ever, you know, inside it. Really great aria, and but it's in the French language, and I'm terrible with French, but I really love this piece of music because the whole song was kind of influenced by this opera, really. I mean, the music not so much, but the lyrics were the idea, that Samson and Delilah story, the idea that there's this, you know, the woman sort of tempting him to give up his. You know, Israelites or something. something in the Bible. But basically, but yeah, went with it. And but I thought it'd be nice to have a little reference to that because that's what the song was influenced about. And then I realised I had to try and sing it in French. The original idea was I was going to try and translate it into English, but it didn't. It sounded really bad, so I thought I'd just try and do it in French. I mean, it's répond à ton dressé or something. Yeah, there's kind of two, you know, the book 1984, you know, book 1984, you know, George Orwell, 1984, the book 1984, it's, I read that book when I was younger, in school, like a school project or something, and it was like really like boring political book, you know, but I read it again like a year ago, and I was really impacted by it because it had like a kind of like love story inside, which I didn't really notice the first time, and it's kind of like and I kind of related to it, maybe, you know, I sort of connected with this love story for some reason, I don't know why. And so quite a few of the songs have got an influence there's some lyrical gestures towards this book and, you know, some of the stories in the book. But also there's a few sort of political elements that relate to what it's felt like to be English, living in England, you know, which I've only been living half in England, but over the last 7 years has been quite it's been quite a strange period, you know, because England's been like, you know, kissing America's arse, like, you know, going to war, which is like, you know, ask anyone in the street and they say, you know, we don't want to do this, you know. The parliamentary system's really shit, you know, and the prime minister's a twat, you know, and then basically we've got all these you know, there's scandals going off, the MP scandals. We've got the economic crisis, which is caused in England mainly. You know, the London banking system is really like not done. It's done really bad stuff, you know. And then also England is like surrounded by these video cameras everywhere. And also, like, if you want to go for a protest in England, you know, if you want to protest about something, you end up getting locked in like they call it kettling, you know, where the police like lock you in like a sort of virtual prison. And they leave you there for 6 hours with no drinks, no toilets, nothing. And then sometimes there's like completely innocent people inside. You know, it's not their fault. They just happen to be walking there. You know, and there's lots of stuff on YouTube of like video footage of like these kind of collisions taking place between protesters and English police who like, you know, push them over. Like people died and stuff. You know, like completely innocent people. So all of these things. I've got nothing to do with the album. I'm joking. All of these things are kind of like.
Well, there's been a strong discontent to all of these things, and a lot of these things have been very apparent and have also been happening during the process.
It's kind
of
seeped into the songwriting a little bit, you know. So, you know, resistance. It's the idea that there is in England there definitely feels like a growing resistance against both the government, the police, and the military. It seems like general English people are. There's a little bit of a collision there, you know, and I don't really know. We don't know. It needs to resolve itself. I'm sure it would resolve if there was like an election or something, you know. But because English people feel like they have no say, you know, like no democratic opinion, or, you know, it's just ignored, you know. So I think that's kind of one of the influences, as well as the sort of the love story from this book, 1984, the sort of connection between the two, something like that. You know, it's vague, you know. You wing it, you know what I mean? You wing it half the time. We've met them before. I've met the Edge a couple of times. Really nice guy, and he's really interested in like equipment, musical equipment, studio equipment. So I remember when I had a chat with him a couple of years ago. He advised me on some things which I bought for the studio and stuff. So yeah, really nice guys. Really, I don't know. I've met the drummer. I think I've met Bono briefly. But yeah, looking forward to it. You know, it'd be nice to play. It'd be nice to see them playing in the big stadiums. You know, because they're maybe one of the best at playing this style. You know, so it'd be good to learn something from their methods.